fucking awesome. Come on, it's gonna be fucking awesome. You know the words. It's gonna be fucking awesome. That's it, say. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Yeah!
Hey ho, Coolest Geeks. Jesse Blaze Snider here, the Coolest Geek Alive. How are you doing? I am back to just a podcast for this show. I have scaled down my live streams to just the Coolest Geek Alive stream with Aaron Sparrow. I realized that that was the only one that I really wanted to do. And the other ones I was just doing because everybody had suggested that I do them for so long. And I was like, I guess so. But it really makes it like hard because I really feel like I have to show up at like a time or like it's just going to be, you know, for nobody. And it just seems very weird. Like, I don't care if it's for nobody, like on the podcast, like, you know, you guys can hear it when you hear it. But on the live stream thing, it's just like, and doing 4 of them at once kind of thing. It was a little crazy. So I decided I'm going to actually go back to my Wednesday show and my Friday show, even though I'm late on this week. I've had a bunch of dental problems, guys. I'm really sorry. And I just, you know, I did like 2 weeks of the live stream thing, and I just went, you know, I don't think this really works for me. And I thought about it, and I said, I just want to focus on making the Coolest Geek live stream really awesome. And I don't think I'm going to release that as a podcast so that I can encourage you guys to go check that out as a live stream. And that'll be like the one place you can go like see my face and comment and whatever else. That seems like the best idea for me. And then the rest of my shows, including my new show, Everything They Don't Want You to Know, which I'm doing on Fridays, which I'll be doing later today. They're really just going to be me on podcast, but I'll promote the live stream on all of them, and that's it. You know, so it'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday now with All Your Favorite Bands Suck, which I usually, you know, get out Monday night. You know, I pass it on to them, so it's usually like Tuesday. See, I try to get it to them so that it can go out Monday night, but it depends sometimes. Yeah. But, you know, Music Monday or whatever. Monday's the music. And then Wednesday's comic books come out, so I do Coolest Geek Live. And then Friday I do my Everything They Don't Want You to Know show, which is kind of like, so many words, esoteric wisdom. The stuff that they teach you in the Freemasons, ultimately. That's what I'm teaching you. I'm not teaching you shit. I'm just reminding you of the stuff you've forgotten. Anyway, and then Saturday, I'll do my little Saturday show. Like, I think I'm going to do a little Fallout episode. Because I like doing those little 15-minute episodes. Like, I was like, am I going to do a Wednesday episode on freaking Fallout? I'm like, I don't have that much to say about it, even though I liked it a lot. Yeah. So, nothing changes for you guys. It was just for me. So I'm just telling you. But that Sunday live stream is legit. You'll be able to see me and Aaron every Sunday night. And I think we're going to just, as a third show, like we're just going to keep it like current, whatever's going on kind of thing. And just mess around, have our guests on, talk about whatever's going on. And that'll be it. Anyway, I'm excited about that. I really I like this so much better. I'm just here. You don't know where I am. I could be anywhere. I'm somewhere special. On a microphone, but you don't know. It's my voice, baby. Just my voice. Anyway, I love just having a voice. And I'm so fucking excited to, you know, I've been on like my super positive kick and like I'm going to keep that up mostly, but it's time to fucking like just fucking out Bob Iger, out this system, all of this nonsense. I think my like title for this episode is going to be BlackRock's Disney and puppet CEO Bob Iger, their real current strategy, business as usual. And I got sour news for you guys. Creatively, nothing at Disney's about to change. I think that they've hedged their bets a little bit by contracting themselves and giving themselves the ability to more easily change regimes if they had to. And by regimes, there's like sort of like groups of people who think like a group, and you sometimes have to get rid of the group. You have to break up the group of people. These guys are all best friends and they're all in on it. That's like kind of the thing, and it happens all the time at companies, especially smaller companies and whatever else. And it can be a real bitch, and it's like literally like a fuck, like this is the group that doesn't fit, and then things have to be rearranged so that you get a harmonious group again. Nothing is changing at Disney. What their current strategy is, and should I tell you this? Yeah, okay. Their current strategy is to slow down how quickly they are pissing off their audience whilst still pissing them off, but trying to get away with it, which is, what they've been doing. And what their strategy is also going to continue to be is lots of dirty trick sort of tactics to make it seem like they're doing better than they're doing. Like, if they can please the carefully selected YouTubers and, made reviewers in the community who are all part of their mind virus clique. And always remember, please, this is coming from a fucking super liberal person. I don't like to kill bugs. Okay? But there's just egregious pushiness, and there's like, there's things that cross lines, and, and I believe that there's space for everybody. And it's like, I'm so fucking aggravated with the bleeding hearts of the world, because I'm one of them, and this is wrong. Like the way that the mind virus has affected, like they think like, well, let's bully them back the same way they bullied us, and that's not the way forward. That's just the way back to, the power has shifted, and now the gays have it. The gays will kill you all. Fuck you. We finally have the power. Fuck you, non-gay people. I know so many gay people. I have so many good friends who are gay. Like, all my fucking gay friends are so damn cool. They're so much cooler than all of the assholes on the internet who are their representatives on social media. Oh my God. The moment like news became tweets, so it starts with like celebrity tweets is news. And then eventually it's just tweets are news. So it's like, by the way, Johnny said, eat shit, Elon Musk. News at 11. There are so many ways to manipulate this system that we're in. It's crazy. One of the big ways that Disney is masterful at, besides controlling all of the people who are reviewing their shit to a certain degree, and attacking and trying to get channels banned that are saying things they don't like. The channels like Doomcock on YouTube and Nerdrotic and all of the Geeks and Gamers, and they battle with like getting demonetized, getting shut down, having mysterious things happen to them, like all of a sudden they've lost 100,000 subscribers, or their videos aren't being suggested to their subscribers. All of a sudden, when they release things, nobody seems to see it. And they have subscribers going, you released a video, but I didn't see it. It didn't show up in my feed, even though it says I'm subscribed to it. Like that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying like, I'm saying in general, like weird things like that. And what's going on there, and it's clear that there's a pattern of fuckery. It's not mathematically correct what's going on. And you see it over and over again, just like the amount of people who are like, difficulty in this way or that way. And it's the people who don't toe the line in one way or another, and they have their ways of making it more difficult for you to keep making your content. And by Disney slowing down how quickly they're pissing off the audience, like they're going to get a total reprieve when Deadpool comes out. And like apparently like they let them take it off the chain, and I say that that's a fucking a tippy top decision of like throw the audience a bone, give them some hope, and then fucking get back to what we were doing, DEI initiatives, because this DEI initiative, there's a guy on the street, and I'm really like, see if I can pull this up, because it's really like important. I'd love to be able to hopefully introduce the right person or persons to the clip, because I'm not, I'm a centrist, but I'm a bleeding heart centrist, and it's very much like hey, look, like I think we should go over this way where we're bleeding hearts, but like I don't think I should like have to like force you to do it. So like let's just be cool until you realize that like being a centrist and coming to the middle and being friends with everybody is the better way to do it, So I'm not trying to like fuck with anybody. There is something that happens when you are not feeling personally attacked by, the other sides, other views. I don't feel personally attacked by somebody else thinking something differently than I think. And I don't even have like one day they will think like me or something like that. Like, I really think that everybody's mind and brain, like, it all going to end up being its own thing anyway. And it all comes through the lens of how we've been raised and what we've been learning and what we've been living. And I think that's something that we really need to forgive each other for when it comes to, politics and religion and anything. Like I'm sorry, I was raised over there, and this is where I am now. And whether that's doing the same thing as where you were raised, or repudiating how you were raised because how you were raised was really oppressive, and like there's a lot of different ways that people end up where they are. And I think we have this tendency to be like, I'm over here and you stay over there, and rah, 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 like, and I'm like, who started a fight? Like, why is there a fight? Well, they think this and I think that. Like, just because somebody thinks something different than you or whatever, like it's not the end of the world. I'm still trying to find this stupid fucking clip because I want to show you the bit. I guess I'll just explain it because whatever. It was a guy from the Soviet Union. He was an older man, and he was being asked by somebody how he was voting, and he said, "Will you be voting Democrat?" And he said, "No, Republican." And he said, I forget exactly what he said, but he was like, "Oh yeah, why is that?" And he said, everything they're doing, everything they're trying to do right now, I've already seen it. It's what happened in the Soviet Union. It was how they tore apart the country by adding all of this additional levels of politics and division into the populace, to the point that there was a revolution and the country fell apart. Like, this is an old man from the Soviet Union going, I've seen this particular sabotage before. This is sabotage. BlackRock and these other big companies that are pushing these DEI initiatives, This is sabotage. It's communism. It's an agenda. It's not organic. It's not natural liberalism. I knew this. I fucking knew this so long ago. I was such a social justice warrior. Like as a kid, I'm 41. So I've been in the fucking social justice game for a long time, long before this switch flipped here. And when it flipped, I felt a change in so many things, and it just became virtue signaling. People were clearly just trying to like do the popular thing. And I feel like guilty about it to some degree, because that was my plan to, I think, like as a person, like as a younger person, I was like, I'm just going to be so fucking cool. Coolest Geek Alive, right? That like, I'm going to make being cool. like I knew I had a certain amount of power on a lot of levels. I work in a lot of different fields. My father's a rock star. I'm fucking brilliant. I'm not trying to be a dick. I've worked very hard to be. I am brilliant because I fucking get up every day and I try to be. And I've gotten there. And and I use my powers for good. But I could really think about things, probably ultimately to my detriment, as I've learned in spiritual, like sort of like training and all that stuff. But I'm humble to a mouse. I don't think I'm all that. I think I've earned a lot, and I know where I am in the universe and what I can do. And this world is very tricky. It is. Hold on. Sorry, guys. That was my babies calling me. I've been on a little vacation, and I'm going back to see them, and they figured it out. I was trying to surprise them, but I've been slowly they're finding out that daddy's heading back. I love my babies. We have such a nice relationship. I've like the best babies. They're like really super, super smart and super sweet and super cool. Only problem with them is they're like too mature, and kids in school are not mature. My kids are like, kids are dicks, Dad. I'm like, yeah, I know, right? Kids are such dicks. That's the only problem with raising like really cool together kids. It's like they go out to the world and they're like, other people suck. I'm like, you're right. Other people totally suck. But isn't it wonderful that we don't suck? We don't suck. And that's okay. It's funny. Anyway, so, whatever, I'll get back to, whatever my train of thought was there. But I'll stay to, I'm going to move over to kind of my script, not my script. It's just like bullet points that I kind of put down of like things that I wanted to talk about, in general about this whole BlackRock controlling this thing and really trying to create communism here. And I'm sorry, if this is something that's like triggering for anybody. It's like, it's just facts, dude. Like you gotta look at the information. When you have, and I wish I could just pull it up and have this old guy, you hear him going, yes, from Soviet Russia. This, all the same things that they did. All of it. This is all the same. And there was another long interview that I posted a while ago of a Soviet politician or whatever, and he was like, he was just basically just saying the same. He was saying the same thing, but he was saying it like 30 years ago, a little more than that. It was black and white footage or whatever, but he was saying what they would do to change the regime, to tear apart a country, and it's what they are doing. So I'm sorry. It's like I have to bring information like that to people. Like, this is the whole game here. This DEI thing is a way to get their breaking of the traditional family. Like, there's so many fucking things. Like go investigate it yourself. You will see. I'm not lying. I have no reason to lie. I'm a fucking person in the middle going, hey, they're fucking with all of us. And they're making us think that like we're each other's like bad guy, and that's not the case. But this is coming from the money at the top, and their plan to slow down their output of entertainment is simply to slow down how much they are pissing everybody off in their audience. And of course, my daughter just ass-dialed me. Fucking kids. They're just trying to slow down the vitriol because they have so many other businesses. You know, they can piss you off much more slowly with, well, I don't know, with ESPN, I was going to say. But they have parks, and they have it's going to take a long time for them to change so much in the parks that the people are going to be pissed off about it. This initiative is waiting everybody else out with money. Surely they can't survive on how much their YouTube channel is going to make now. Surely the audience, which is stuck with this DEI initiative, which the DEI initiative, the reason why it's a bad thing is not because of inclusion being a bad thing. It's a bad thing just because of the way it's being implemented, the creative people who are implementing it, and the overlying reasons why it's being implemented, the blanket way of how it's being implemented, and that's really the big one, because the blanket way of how it's being implemented has created a very obvious inorganic pattern in all of the material that all of these companies are putting out. Not just Disney. You know, the biggest films or whatever it is, like the money is coming from the same place in all cases. There is always, like, every war is funded by the same people on both sides. It's not one side going, yes, I feel passionately about this. It's the same fucking Rockefellers and Rothschild families fucking funding both sides of World War II and coming out scot-free on the other end. Both sides. The whole idea of sides is misbegotten because any side will ultimately be taken over by the invisible hand of crazy financial superiority at the tippy top of all things. And it does what it does. Right now, it is attempting to divide us. It is succeeding hardcore. Controlling the media, which they do, is just the fucking tip of the iceberg. The financial interests on planet Earth are insanely powerful. The amount of money that they have is just think of how difficult it is for you to do anything because of how much money it costs to do it, and how it might set you back and make you concerned or whatever it might be at any given thing. How many things you haven't done because, like, I don't know about that money. Like, that's the whole idea here on planet Earth. Meanwhile, at the tippy top of things, when you have money, everything just fucking slides around. It's easy. They're operating on another level, in secret, at freaking country clubs, at freaking Freemason halls, and all of this shit. I mean, it's real. I'm in the business. It's a fucking tiered structure. What is a CEO? Well, you've heard of the boys club, right? Well, that's just copycat behavior from the higher up level of the boys club at the tippy top. Terrible bosses have terrible bosses. You've heard of hurt people hurt people. Terrible bosses have terrible bosses. The shit rolls downhill is another one. There's a movie that wasn't so great but had a great bit of like this awful boss who was like threatening to like murder them. And then all of a sudden you saw her boss, and her boss was threatening to kill her family. And it was like, wow, that is worse. I will torture your children. Okay. And then she's back on with them, and she's like, I will fucking kill you if you don't do this the way I need you to do this. But that is very real. Okay? For one. Because what is a CEO? A CEO is somebody who is highly connected, but usually doesn't fucking understand anything that is happening beneath them. Because CEOs are not usually the best person for the job. And I'm talking about corporate CEOs for things that are being exchanged on the stock exchange. People, I've been the CEO for this company, and I've been the CEO for this company, and I've been the CEO. If they've been the CEO for 3 companies that you like know the names of, they are a fucking plant. They are somebody who is in the system the way Bob Iger is in the system. They are part of the club that is secretly talking and secretly doing things. It's funny that we're going to do the Fallout review this weekend because talking about Fallout, it's these bunker people. They are conniving in various ways, and there's all sorts of secrecy, whatever going on, even within this tiny little world that like people have to reveal and find out. And most people have no fucking clue because they're like too low man on the totem pole to some degree. No offense to anybody who's, a low man on the totem pole in terms of like, you're not necessarily getting access to a lot of information or experience to show you what is really going on in the fucking universe. But it is a world run by idiots because these people are literally just the bloodline kin of various people who have managed to succeed in one way or another, or the complete put out patsies of the people who are towing the line of the person in the right way. And I mean, it's just like, you guys have no idea the freaking world that is out there unless you investigate. I mean, I had no idea about, and I'm somebody who's like investigating stuff like constantly. And recently, I've been really just digging into something that I'm usually not interested in because, I consider it like fucking tabloid shit. But like, what has been known about what is going on in the fucking hip hop and pop industry for forever? Like, information has been available and nothing is being done. Like, it's crazy. Like, this P. Diddy thing has essentially opened a freaking door with like information coming out, and the amount of information, not that has come out, but that existed already, has blown my mind. Like, and it seems to me, it's like, I'm like, oh fuck, like as like a white person, I guess, with a little bit less exposure to the black community, like I had no idea about like what, but like it's clear, like these people talking, like and the hip hop culture, I guess, is maybe probably the fucking better bit, or like, I mean, but it's like, I guess deep. It seems so much more community oriented though, but like, because they know, like, different people have come out and fucking said things and pressed charges, and like there's so many fucking bits of charges that have been fucking dropped, and dude, it's like, it's nasty. That's all I'm saying. And like fucking same thing in like the boy band thing with all the, oh my god, the guy who like started those bands, and some dark shit. It's all some dark shit. That's all I'm gonna say. You can go investigate that stuff yourself. But I mean, this is the world we're living in. Okay. And, I didn't want to like ever talk about it so black and white like this. Really, like, this isn't new information to me. But I just, this morning, I just really had like an epiphany about what it was they were doing, and that was slowing things down so that the blowback is slower and they have more control over the release valve. So they can like piss us off, make us happy, piss us off, make us happy, piss us off. Like they want to be able to do the same thing. Meanwhile, they're going to try to crush the dissent, raise their Rotten Tomato scores, like all this fucking shit. Fucking A. So what is a CEO? A CEO is one of these idiots. What is Bob Iger? Bob Iger is one of these fucking idiots.
Bob Chapek, it's funny, actually seemed like a non-idiot and um, a genuine problem solver. He was somebody who worked within the company. Um, let me tell you this right now. Bob Chapek is a patsy. What they did to him was calculated and fucked up. They brought him in, gave him like 2 seconds to get a hold of things, had him putting out constant fires. And there's a lot of things to suggest that Bob Iger was responsible for Scarlett Johansson suing Disney. There's a lot of things to suggest that Bob Iger was responsible for Bob Chapek having to basically go before a whole board of like DEI executives essentially at Disney and like all these employees, and he had like a whole statement of like, of being happy with them or whatever. Meanwhile, they did. I think Bob Iger at least was just trying to blame him for the choice in Florida for the I forget what it's called, the We Don't Say Gay bill, which the Don't Say Gay bill thing was highly misleading. And it's like, seriously, like, don't even fucking argue with me about this. Like, if you're a liberal person, because you just don't know how misleading it is, or you just don't understand how fucking important it is to not be misleading. Like, there wouldn't have been so much controversy over the fucking thing if it was not misleading in the first place. Because there wouldn't have been so much fucking support for it. Sorry. I don't care if you have crazy support for it. In general, if you know what it really was. What it really was. I have 4 children. No, I don't talk to them about fucking sex. I mean, my 15-year-old daughter, yeah, I've had a couple conversations with her. Cassidy, my 12-year-old son, not as much, but some. Appropriate. I'm the one who's monitoring his engagement in the world. And I'm the one who is letting him develop naturally. And as he has questions and he needs answers, I am there. And people forget that, like in comic books and in movies so often or whatever, like sexuality and like they're trying to overcome the sort of assumptive sex of a man and a woman, which is just like a fucking simplicity. Every story is just a straw man for you. You know, like a great gay man story doesn't fucking stop me from being able to be like, I understand. You know, a great female-led movie doesn't stop me from feeling like I understand. A shitty one does. That's how it works. It's always been like this. There's always been fucking cross-dressers and people who were out of the ordinary in history. And there's always been some people who were against them and some people who were for them. In everybody's life, it doesn't matter if you're a fucking cross-dresser. There's some people who are against you. There's some people who are for you. All of these sort of like, my pain is worse than your pain. It just fucking divides us. It's so terrible. It's all insidious. It's all a plan. There are people who have been around for longer than we have. And they were smarter long before we were smart. So they were able to implement things long before we could fucking notice that anything was being done. And it takes like a really wise person to be able to recognize when you've been duped. But we've been duped. And their strategy remains. And we're going to have to see a major shakeup of these supposed CEOs, because they're supposed to be like Bob Chapek, but they are actually Bob Iger connected. He talked about, and I just watched a long interview that he did a little while back. I mean, it's not that long ago, recently. And he was talking about the people on his board, and I think I'd written something down about his board somewhere. It's like I always end up talking about this shit out of context because it just comes to me naturally or whatever. But and I guess I should fucking learn that and stop fucking going to my notes. That's a good lesson for me. But he said that these people on the board, they were carefully picked, people who are talented and I'm like, let me just tell you this right now, as a creative person. A board is a fucking terrible, not a board, like being like a terrible thing, but like a board can't like run a fucking, like a bit, like the bigger the board, the more difficult it is to fucking do things. Ultimately, and granted, that's why there's Bob Iger and he's getting information from talented people. If these people were so fucking talented, they'd be doing something in the world that made us know who the fuck they are. And I tell you, I've looked at these numbers, these names. I don't know these fucking people. These are talented people. They're talented with butt kissing. They're talented with numbers, maybe. They know the financial system. They're lawyers. They've shaked the right hands. They cross the right boxes. They do whatever fucking thing that needs to be done by the real powers that be. The fucking BlackRock's and every other fucking huge ass corporate cover for the big, big, big money at the tippy top of this thing. Just remember, when you think about that, it's only 0.1% is the people who really have the money, right? That tiny little percent. And if we even think about it in terms of they have that much more money, disproportionately, over and over and over again, of that huge group, and they're just a decimal. And it's like, whoof, and whoof, and whoof. You can like fucking just disappear into all the fucking money bins that these motherfuckers have. It is a huge gulf. Everybody who you see a movie about, who's fucking struggling or whatever, or watch a TV show about, none of them are a part of the real system that controls everything. These are the people whose houses they pass, who you see in the background, whose houses remain empty most of the multiple years at a time because I felt like staying at this place, now I'm over to this place, now it's to this place, and to this place, and this place, and this place. I raped a girl and had to escape to Guatemala for a little while. It's okay. I paid my lawyer to pay off all of the people. Now the rape charge has gone away. Her mom and her will be living like relatively happy paupers in a small part of town in Chattanooga, New Mexico. It's literally like when you have the money that they have, everything goes away. Just like everything's gone away for all of this collection of fucking P. Diddy charges and freaking things connected to it. Like just, when you have the money and the power to fucking make shit go away, it goes away. Do you know that there's laws that have been put on the books to allow people to go back to fight to get things scrubbed from the internet? Things that they actually did scrubbed from the internet after a certain period of time, so that people can't find out that they're rapists or that they drugged people or that they're involved in human trafficking or whatever it might be. After like 7 years or something like that, they can get it scrubbed from the internet. Isn't that fucking interesting? Isn't that interesting that the internet is under that much control that they're capable of scrubbing something that you don't want from the internet? Do you see how controlled our system has become? I don't know if you're like me and you would watch like underground documentaries that would be made on YouTube or whatever else. There was an incredible documentary about frequency and about what would happen in all these third world countries when the American military would show up and we would set up all of our communication towers. And all of a sudden their hospitals would be inundated with meningitis and other American diseases, things that like are problems for people over here. And it's gone now. I can't find it. I haven't been able to find it. Because I was trying to talk to people about so many different things, about how metal in your body is not really great, how Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all these different things, their frequency that affect us. Not good ways. And I haven't been able to find it anymore. And there's other information that I can get my hands on, and there's other people who are carrying the torch in one way or another. But that documentary is gone. I don't know what happened to it. Can't find it. So what is a CEO? A CEO is a fucking controlled plant. A CEO is kind of like a president. He's the face of the thing being controlled by the corporate money. The moment these freaking companies go fucking, and they have boards and like all this stuff, and it's very easy for like they just get taken over. Have you heard of the corporate takeover? Corporate takeover is the people who are in the seat of real power using their power to just freaking flip the switch and take over your board, take over your people. Just don't worry, board member, you'll be sitting pretty. Do what we want, do what we want, do what we want. And they'll just keep going after YouTube channels and controlling the Rotten Tomato scores and owning most of the people doing the reviewers. And a lot of the ownership is usually just people want access. They want the free screeners. They want to go to the premieres. They want to be able to post that to their TikToks, all this stuff. Like Disney holds that over your head. Even when you're saying bad things about us, you better say it in a nice way. And you know what? I think in general, that's always kind of a good practice. But sometimes, it's necessary, especially now. It's necessary when the control, like you see what they're doing there. Like they have no interest in controlling the way the creativity is rolling out. They have no interest in changing the way they're doing things so that stuff gets better. They're just going to slow things down and rejigger other business things. Like they've got all sorts of other business plans. Great, clear business plans. Their business plan with their entertainment division is to slow things down. Just recently, they laid off like 10% of the Pixar staff, scaling down. Like I said, hedging bets. Because then it's easier to change regimes if you have to. Because then they can go, okay, fuck it. We'll get some new people in. And then, we'll go back to doing Disney the way Walt would do it. Like, it's just like so fucking stupid. I mean, the writing's on the wall. The man, there's so many fucking books about all the thoughts of Walt Disney and collecting all that shit. And it used to be something that Disney cherished. And people like me who are real Disney fans, I'm a real Disney fan. I love Disney. When Disney bought Marvel, I was thrilled at first. When Disney bought the Muppets, I was thrilled at first. Star Wars, I didn't care about as much. I'm not a big Star Wars fan. I became a big Star Wars fan to get into it because it was at Disney, because I had friends who were big Star Wars fans. I love Rogue One. I love the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian. I love Andor. But everything else, just like fucking pedestrian. I just I like upbeat, cool shit. But it's just not cool enough, not interesting enough, doesn't say enough, isn't meaningful enough. Characters aren't fucking memorable enough. So many different things. When these things are brought up and there's a board and there's all these people, there's too many cooks in the kitchen, that's when it's like the death of art. You really need a leader in the room. You need a clear head of action, which is why I always say about Bob Iger that he is a CEO the way I would be a CEO and the way I am a CEO for my own company. In that he tries to hire the right people for the job and then let them do their job, which is the fucking way. But you also have to know what their job is so that you can oversee them. And he doesn't fucking know what their jobs are. He freaking blamed that there wasn't enough executive oversight on the Marvels and on Marvel films that were being rushed into production. And they didn't have enough executives looking over what was being done. So what is he saying there? He's saying that fucking they're changing the script? Are they changing the tone so much that it's a different movie? It's not a good movie anyway. It would have been a good movie if our executives were there to say, hey, you're changing the tone too much, or hey, get this shot you're not getting, or like the problems with your fucking movies are foundational, Bob. It's the scripts. It's the scripts. It's the fucking scripts. It's the ideas underlying everything. The ideas are the only thing your audience is interested in. That and the characters who have to struggle and work for things. And you fucking made it so that no minority or woman ever is going to work or strive for anything ever again in modern entertainment, which means you're going to forever have bland characters that nobody really gives a shit about because you're not giving them an opportunity to shine through adversity. The best thing you can do for a character is fucking put them through adversity. Teach them something. Teach your audience something with them. Like, that's it. That's the usefulness of fucking character. Yeah. The other big problem with DEI is the moment things are like, here are the 3 rules. Like, everything has to really like dance around the fucking rules to some degree. Or you have to come up with something that's like organically meant to fit within the rules. And that just me saying that out loud, that takes a really smart person who is looking at the thing the right way, who's going, oh, shit, I have to adopt different strategies to do this. And I wasn't that smart the first fucking time that somebody like brought this to me. I've been writing for a very long time. I've worked for Marvel, I've worked for DC, I've worked for Disney, Pixar, and the Muppets, and so many fucking companies. You know, and all of a sudden you get a couple notes like, oh my God, like they gutted my freaking Dead Romeo scripts, which was like, you know, I don't know, it was maybe the 10th, you know, through 16th script I'd ever written or whatever, you know, for a comic probably. Something like that. You know, I mean, like some things that had been published prior to that, but some scripts that I'd written prior to that maybe had not been published or whatever, but just like I was practicing, I was trying to learn. And when they brought me, it was like so many rounds of notes. The first round of notes was that because I was doing this really cool Dante's Inferno thing with hell, because they wanted me to do a vampire romance with a vampire escaping from hell. So I came up with this thing of like, all right, he escapes from hell, and it's like Dante's Inferno hell. And they like send these 9 sinners from the 9 rings of hell to get him because he doesn't do what he told hell he would do because he's supposed to kill this girl. He can't kill her. He can't kill her. Sorry. I'm speaking very low. I didn't mean to. I told you my teeth have been bothering me. Sorry. But the thing that I did to like tie it in, because I'm like a vampire romance, like nobody in comics is gonna like give a shit about this. I'm like, but maybe if half the sinners from Dante's Inferno's, you know, 9 sinners from hell that are going after him are existing characters from the DC universe who have died, that'd be really fucking cool. And at the time, Lobo was dead. A character named Manchester Black was dead. Jonah Hex. I forget who else I had in there. But there was a bunch of existing characters that I thought might be cool for people to see in the book. And the first thing they asked me to do was write the existing characters out and make them like characters that, you know, I created on my own. So I had to turn Lobo into this leader of this biker gang, I think named The House. It was actually based on a real guy. And turn this Manchester Black into this Asian CIA chick, and that actually ended up staying in the book. And then I finally, after I turned that in, they asked me to write out all of the characters that I had who, you know, were from these different places in hell. Because like that was the one cool thing I had. Like I had some people that died in places that were like classic, like they're going back to their death scene. How would their body reform and stuff? And then like now I had like all random people, and they were supposed to be basically coming from all these different places, all over the place or whatever. And they just wanted it to be vampires. And like, so I had to like turn all of the special people that I had written, some of them were like, supervillains or whatever else, into just kind of regular people, like, and living in, like, they were all then like living in California kind of thing, or I don't know, like, I guess, see, like, looking at it back right now, I'm like, why did I change so much of it from like their thing? I guess I was just busted how many times I had to change it. And this is the thing. It's like the more notes you get, notes are really deflating to like the creative process. And if you really know what you're doing and are good at what you're doing, sometimes you'll do great work and you'll get a bunch of notes, even though you don't fucking need any notes. The work that you've done is great. And people are like essentially like fucking up your work, just trying to give themselves an excuse to do something. That happens all the time. Like, you'd be surprised how much work is torpedoed by like people just like executive people, management people who don't know what you do well enough to do it themselves, inject themselves into your work in a way that really fucks up your work. It's really like fucking nuts. In the interview that I watched with Iger, he'd been blaming things on the movie business. And, it's just funny because he even mentions Barbie and Oppenheimer. And I'm like, those movies prove that what you're saying about the movie business is completely wrong. And he said something about like, we make a lot of money with our movies. I don't understand why people try to make it like we're not successful. You're not successful, Bob, because you're spending more than everybody. You're doing it the wrong way. You guys have become the shit company. You've become the company not focused on quality and innovation. You've become the company focused on fucking doing shit the easy way. It's insane. It's fucking insane. And it's clear if Barbie and Oppenheimer can make fucking money and you can't do it with Mickey and Star Wars, it's like, it's fucking crazy. And like I said, he said, he's blaming it on not enough executive supervision, when I already know that the only good part of you as a fucking executive is that you believe in a relatively lax executive supervision, but with no oversight, because you can't fucking provide any, because you don't fucking know anything about the entertainment business. This motherfucker wants to be a weatherman, and now he wants to be a freaking Democratic political pundit. And that is affecting every decision he's making. He is just as much of a plant as you get. And all these fucking CEOs, they all are, unfortunately. And right now, what the financial interests at the tippy top of things want is to transform our world into Soviet Russia before it fucking broke apart into pieces. And like, please, don't take my word for it. Go investigate that yourself. It's worth investigating. It's legit. And this thing, then, like, the fact that they're not going to change this, like we need to start calling it out. Like, we see what you're doing. We know that history repeats itself, and we see that this has been done before. And we're smart enough to listen to the old man on the street who was being interviewed, who was talking about how he left Soviet Russia because this is what they did there, and it destroyed the country. This is what they do. This is what money does. This is the whole thing. They go around everywhere and they destroy. They have no loyalty to nationality. Like right now, the whole like stuff going on with China and Biden and all these things is there's no loyalty to America. The money doesn't have loyalty to America. They are going to set China up to completely take over America through financial, checks and balances and whatnot. It's all a fucking game. It's all a big club and you ain't in it, right? Who said that? George Carlin. It's all a big club and you ain't in it. I ain't in it either. Granted, I'm fucking close enough to this fucking club. I've been invited, and I didn't believe in it really until I was invited to play one of their fucking parties, and and just like I abhor secrecy. Just believe it's just like the fucking death of life. It's like, this is why we can't have nice things, because we can't actually fucking do things the way we say we're going to do them. I'm a superhero comics guy. And the way that they make these freaking movies, often they lose the morality of the characters and what the freaking characters mean. And it's what Hollywood does to everything. They have no morals. And I believe that shit comes down from the top, because it's always been, It doesn't take very long for them to like sort of like sniff out that generally things are very moral, and then all of a sudden things become very amoral very quickly. Happened with the westerns, happened with the superhero genre, and in comics too. Even with like Alan Moore and stuff. And Alan Moore like sort of like talks about not liking that everything sort of being his version of the superhero world after he invented it. Sort of like not everything needs to be this deconstructionist and this dark and this way. And I agree completely. He was taking credit in the interview I watched for Marvel and Pixar, like how Marvel's been like a brand that's been so powerful for so long. Yeah, not because of you, because of the Marvel brain trust that you got rid of when you friggin' like went over there and you gave Kevin Feige all the power. Kevin Feige doesn't know shit. Kevin Feige's a fucking patsy like you. He's a plant. He's doing the fucking DEI thing for the powers that be. He's doing exactly what they want. I'm sure he's getting money under the table or prestige or whatever it is he's getting. He's getting something, just like everybody. He's doing what they want him to do. And he's not creative enough to do a good job with it. The Marvel Creative Committee was actually filled with brilliant creative people. Joe Quesada's a brilliant creative person. Craig Kyle's a brilliant creative person. Jeff Loeb's a brilliant creative person. And there's a bunch more. And they are brilliant people. I've watched their careers. They're talented. There's a reason why comic books are good. Comic books have come out of the obscurity that they've come out of because there were people who really believed in what it was they were dealing with and were smart and creative. And they did it. And now it's all been taken over like everything else by these fucking non-creative frat boys. That's what they are, walking around doing the elephant walk, holding each other's dicks and other stuff. Like, seriously, like just this is how they get each other together and form loyalty. Well, I put my penis in your butt and you put your penis in my butt, so now we know a secret that nobody knows, and I'll tell people that you're gay, and blackmailing each other. Like, this is the freaking world. It exists. I promise you. It exists. It's the thing that is creating all of these problems and keeping the pressure on here. And I mean, that's why I felt compelled to talk about it, because it's just like, this ain't changing. Nothing's changing here. At least not now. I've been observing for like the past 6 months, when I did my positivity kick, and I was like complaining about Bob Iger. I felt like every week, and I was like, man, I've been bitching about this man for so long. So I've like let months go by, and I've just been sort of like watching, going, is anything changing? Is anything changing? Their stock hit like an all-time low today. I mean, of like, it's like really like dropping. I mean, granted, I'm sure it probably started at zero, didn't it? But fuck. Walt Disney is one of my favorite people, one of my idols. I love the company that he built. I really believe in that company. I know that I could go in there tomorrow and turn the thing around, and I'm sure Bob Iger would be like, ha, 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 ha. It's all creative. It's all creative. The creativity was the foundations of what made that company magical in the first place. The idea that Disney would buy ESPN should be a magical thing. Should be, they bought Fox. Yay, it's so magical. Yay, look what happened. But it's not, because we've seen what's happened now, because they've lost their magic, because they're not able to let these companies run themselves in a proper way. And ultimately, I don't even think it's necessarily because Bob Iger's not good at it. I think it's because he's a fucking plant. And he is just doing what BlackRock and all these friggin' financial interests are telling him to do. And once that directive is in place from non-creative people at the tippity top of the fucking financial pyramid that makes all this shit go. And trust me, every movie that you've ever seen, you've only ever seen it because it's been paid for. Money has been put out so that you would see the movie. You would see it because they promoted it. And the thing, like really, like, the amount of money, like, you realize that they'll make a movie for $150 million and then they'll spend $150 million on promoting the movie. Do you understand, like, what we're talking about here? This is why you're like, I promoted my thing, but it doesn't really feel like anybody's seen it. Well, of course not. I'm promoting my thing, and Hollywood's I'm promoting my thing are two hugely different things. And that's why, like, you'll hear the story all the time of, like, they pulled all promotion. Pulled all promotion is huge because, like, whatever they paid for it, they'll usually pay to promote it, which is so silly, too, because they could have even bigger hits a lot of the time by actually putting more into the promotion and less into the fun. Like, they could make a decent, cheap movie with a good script, pay a lot of money to promote it, using all of, like, their trickery, but actually have it be good or something. And I think they could make a shitload of money like that. They would profit like crazy. It's just the antithesis of their fucking business model right now. You know, Hollywood in general, it's like people have success and then they don't know exactly how to recapitulate that success. And then they're like trying to figure out like how to get themselves back on top. And they use a lot of shortcuts. And the shortcut system in Hollywood of like all the different things that you can do to make it seem like you're, you know, oh, well, let's bring in so and so to do the score and bring in this person to say that they worked on it, and let's bring in this person to edit it, and we'll make it kind of slow and moody, and then we'll pitch it to the other community of people who are like interviewers who we have in our pocket, and we'll pay for them to fucking review it nicely, and then we'll say that it won at Sundance because we'll pay Sundance to let us play it. It won at, you know, and it's like just good enough to pass by. But it's like, this is what they fucking do. I'm telling you guys. This is the system. And Pixar, you know, like taking credit for any of that shit is like, again, that was John Lasseter. And then the uptick in Disney after another lull that they had after the fucking Disney Renaissance of Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast and all those ones. The uptick in Disney was because of fucking John Lasseter being promoted to the head of Disney over there. And John Lasseter was a competitor to Bob Iger. I really believe that Bob Iger probably had a hand in getting John Lasseter out the door, in having him be Me Too'd. His Me Too story is insane. Go read the D-Files on Film Threat. FilmThreat.com, they've got the D-Files. All of these Disney animators have come forward anonymously to share their stories about what fucking happened over at Disney when all this shit fell apart. It's insane. Long story short, like he got thrown out the door for like his hugs were too long. It's like crazy. And now they've been fucked ever since. And they were fucked ever since Kevin Feige took over. Fucked ever since freaking Captain Marvel, basically. You know, it's so interesting. So interesting, all of the things that we avoided, all of the Kevin Feige decisions that were on the table that were avoided by like it's crazy. It's crazy, avoided by like just like the last minute. Like just like go look into like some of the alternate endings for fucking Endgame. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. Anyway, they're all plants. Kathleen Kennedy's a plant. These are all people who are in the dark system, and they're all doing what the system wants. And the system wants Kathleen Kennedy to fucking turn Star Wars into a women's brand. It's just like a little bonus that she gets to like, you know, cast herself as the woman who takes on all the roles. Can be brunette ladies like her. You know, bonus. Because BlackRock wants this. This is what they want. They're slowing down production of these things so that they can slow down how much they piss us off and be quick to change and make us happy for a moment before going back to pissing us off again. That's all they're going to do. I see absolutely no signs of them fucking changing. The streaming game, you know, with Disney taking their material off of other platforms and other people doing the same thing, you know, it became a popularity contest, you know, and with adults, HBO is much more popular, you know, having Disney in your house, if you're a Disney family, that's a specific kind of Disney fan, to be a Disney family, raising my kids on Disney. You have to have the extra funds, and I raised my family on Disney. Like, I was one of those people. So, like, we've had fucking Disney Plus since the beginning. And I've, watched tons of things on Disney Plus, even though, granted, it's mostly older stuff now, even though I have watched plenty of the newer things, but a lot of them have been really disappointing. I don't think I'll ever watch most of the newer stuff that I've watched on Disney Plus ever again. Making it a popularity contest was just a real problem for them too, because it's like what Disney looks like is such a specific thing. It's like, kind of like a kid's brand. They've been kiddying up Star Wars and, because really, like, kiddying up the thing, DEI is sort of a kiddie thing. It's like, we need to teach people how to be more compassionate towards other people. Yes, that's something that you do for children. So if you're doing that in all of your films across the board, and you're just like making things unnaturally diverse, like, even though it wouldn't necessarily be like that per se, but we want, it's, like they used to do this occasionally with like, we're making one character black, or we're making one character Hispanic, like, and that was always, I thought, a kind of reasonable approach to that scenario, because it is nice to show that the world has more different things. It is nice to be able to contrast characters. You can get an immediate feel of there must be something special keeping these guys together because they come from different worlds, or at least, outwardly, at a snap glance, you would say, okay, well, these two people come from different places. They look different. Obviously, his family goes back this generation to this place, blah, blah, blah. There's value in that. But when there's this like put on, tick every box, and like, it's just like, it's like, what world is this? But like this, the America that we're being shown constantly on television is not exactly like percentage-wise. There's an overabundance of a lot of different demographics, like really like a pronounced overabundance, based on the demographics of the country, and like that doesn't necessarily matter. At the same time, it's part of this pronounced overriding pattern that we see. This overcorrection pattern where they're trying to sort of like terraform the landscape, and this is what you have to see and notice, because that's what's happening. The tippy top of things is trying to terraform the social landscape, and they're hoping that if they just quell dissent long enough and take long enough, that it'll eventually beat us into submission, and we'll just get used to it. So don't get used to it, okay? I just had like 3 other things that I wrote down in here. I know I've like ended up like talking for like an hour and 7 minutes already, but they were talking about activist investor Nelson Peltz, and he was just like fucking basically saying like, I have no time for that. Like, he's not involved at all, which is just like so funny. Like so much money was put into fighting freaking Nelson Peltz. It's crazy. Money that could have went into any number of things that would have been good for the company. And instead smearing him. And like, I mean, again, this is how they're going to win. This is how they're going to do it. Because Nelson Peltz clearly is not a BlackRock CEO. And I'm sure money that Disney, like other people's money, I'm sure went into smearing Nelson Peltz and trying to stop their thing. And, I mean, it's so ridiculous, and the stock just keeps falling and falling because the people that they're talking to don't fucking know anything about anything. And, Bob Iger's like, nah, we had a really bad month, but I really think that it's going to be good now. And like, people are like, okay, yeah. Like, and Nelson Peltz is like, I think that some very fundamental things are going wrong at the top of the pyramid, which is Disney, which is the creativity. And they're right. Absolutely fucking right. Yeah, see, I finally got to it on my notes. The board is talented. They're connected, really. They're connected. They're very, very connected. That's your qualification level on these fucking boards. You're connected. They're all smart. You know what being smart means? I passed the tests written by the books, proved by the corporations. I believe all of the same information that all of my brothers believe. We operate by the same religion, the religion of business, the religion of the financial elite. Fucking ridiculous. And it was funny, too. There was a question, and this will be the last thing I'm going to say before we wrap up the show. There was a question asked of him about, like, woke characters. Is like putting in all these woke characters a problem. and he was like, well, we got to do the socially right thing or whatever. Like, dude, like the question was wrong because the woke characters isn't the problem. That's not it. There's always been fucking woke characters. There's always been woke characters. Like, what's woke? That's not even right. There's always been diverse characters and different types of people and whatnot. I mean, just learn about a fucking person and who they really are, and eventually you'll find out that they're weird. On some level, they're fucking weird. Everybody is a diverse character. There's so many fucking diverse characters. There have always been diverse characters. People love diverse characters. The problem isn't diverse characters. If we had diverse characters, people wouldn't be so fucking complaining. The problem is cardboard cutouts of diverse characters. That's the problem. Anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate you listening. I'm going to do another episode back to back. I'm going to do the little review of the Fallout thing, whatever next. But that's it, Coolest Geeks. I'm your passionate geek culture commentator, Jesse Blaze Snider. You can write to me at jesseblaze@jessesnider.com. I love you all so much. I look forward to hearing from you. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to my show. I hope you join me again next Wednesday. Should have been Wednesday. Sorry I was late. And this coming Saturday for another ass-kicking episode of the Coolest Geek Alive. Later, brother and sister and whoever.
Hey,
I don't know.
it's my song. Let's sing it. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Come on, it's gonna be fucking awesome. You know the words. It's gonna be fucking awesome. That's it. Sing. It's gonna be fucking awesome.